Okay, so good evening, students. This is Dr. Dong. I'm going to record the video lecture today. So as you can, so first of all, thank you very much for your understanding. So throughout the last week, I received quite a few emails wishing me getting better soon. I really appreciate that. So now I'm a little bit better. So I think I should be able to finish the recording of this video as of today. But if I just cough, if I cough a lot, please excuse me. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the so what is risk condition and what are critical sections, and then how to prevent critical sections or risk condition in our operating system. So before I start, I think what you care most is your midterm grade. So today is November 19th. I think it's Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday, and most of the students took the midterm on November 2nd, but there are a few students who have to take them at a different time. So the last one who took the exam just finished that on November 17th in the evening. So I haven't got the time, which is just two days before today. I haven't got the time to grade the midterm, partially because I'm sick, and the other reason is that the department is doing there is some administration work in the department over the last 2 months. So we just prepared 20,000 pages document, a document that includes 20,000 pages for some external evaluator to give us a accreditation. So this takes a lot of time, and so the evaluation just finished this Tuesday or Monday, I don't remember, and which takes most of my time in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Now, yes, I'm since my voice is getting better, so I think that I can make up the videos, and don't worry, I won't miss anything for you. Okay, so everything is going to be complete, and so my plan is to finish grading midterm as well as your first homework by November 22nd. So that's my objective. I'll definitely try to finish that. So okay, and first let's look at what is risk condition. So I think that most of you, if you watch the video lecture in lecture 5, probably you remember that during that lecture we talk about the process inter-process communication IPC, and there are a couple of mechanisms to implement that. One of them is shared memory. And in a shared memory part, I give an example of the famous producer and consumer problem. So the problem is that, say, there is a producer who keeps generating new products, whereas there is a consumer who keeps consuming products, and then these two people share the same warehouse. So when the producer generates a new item, a new product, he or she is going to put that in the end of the say in the tail of the queue in the warehouse. Whereas when the consumer wants to consume something, he will go to the front of the warehouse to take the one that was generated first. So this is the background. So here we got a risk condition. the risk condition can happen like this. Okay, so so I'm going to explain why why there is a risk condition. So before that, let's be clear. Okay, this is the procedure for producer. So uh, so the in pointer points to the in is basically an index or pointer which points to the first free space. So when the producer generates a new atom, he or she is going to place it right over the in, right over here, and then move into the next space, and it will rotate. So the spaces will be rotated. Okay, so and then when the consumer wants to consume something, he or she will come to the warehouse and pick up the item pointed by out, because out points to the product that first enters the warehouse. So this is the procedure, and so the pseudocode for the producer and the consumer are over here. So you can see that while true means so on the left hand side we have the producer program. While true means that the producer keeps generating something, and while counter equal to buffer size. Counter basically measures how many products are there in the warehouse, and then if the counter, so if the number of products, which is the counter, is equals the buffer size, which is like how many space do you have in a warehouse. It means that the warehouse is full. So the producer needs to wait uh, before generating the next product. And then so if say that the warehouse is not full, then they will put the new product at the space pointed by in, and increase in by 1, and then increase counter by 1, because there is one more atom in the warehouse. And on the right hand side we can see the program for consumer. So again, while true means that the consumer just keeps consuming products. While counter is 0, it means that there is nothing, there is no product in the warehouse. Then the consumer just wait, and until there is something in a warehouse, so that the consumer can take it out and decrease counter by 1. So because one product has been removed from the warehouse, basically counter help us to keep track of how many elements or how many objects are there in the uh, warehouse. Okay, so this is the memory structure, and so originally we have the counter stored in the memory and then when the producer is to when the producer program is executed, so then what it does is that the CPU is going to grab the variable value from the memory, copy it into a register, and then increase the value of the register by 1, and then send the value and copy the new value back to the memory. So this is the process. And also similarly, if the consumer program is executed, then so it will copy the value from memory, copy the value of the variable named counter from the memory and into a register, and decrease the register value by 1, and then send the register value back to the memory. So this is how counter is implemented. Counter plus plus and counter minus minus are implemented. So so first, as you can see, that first we copy the value into a register, and then increase the register value, and then copy the register value back to the counter variable. Similarly, this is the This is the procedure for counter minus minus. And suppose at at a certain time point we have counter as 5, meaning that there are 5 products in a warehouse. And then so for now, let's say the producer just generates a new project, so he or she needs to execute counter plus plus, whereas almost at the same time, consumer wants to consume a product and executes counter minus minus. So ideally after this process, we expect counter to have a value 5 because we first increase it by 1 and then decrease it by 1. So the final value is going to be unchanged, the same as 5. But actually it is possible that these two values, so counter will have a value either 4 or 6. And let me show you why. So remember that counter plus plus triggers the following instructions, whereas counter minus minus triggers the following instructions. And then if these 6 instructions are executed in a certain order like this, we'll be able to say the counter value as 4. So first first we execute the first instruction from the producer, copy the value from counter to the first register, and then we the next instruction is that we increase the register value by 1, and then we copy the value from counter to register. So here at this time, register 1 is going to have value 6, whereas register 2 is going to have value 5 because the counter value remains unchanged. So and then we decrease it by 1, and then we decrease register 2 by 1. So register 2 has a new value 4, and then next let's execute so the last instruction from the producer and copy the value from register 1 to counter. So counter is going to have a value 6, and then at last, if we execute the last instruction of the of the consumer, and then so we will copy the value from register 2 to counter, and then counter is going to have value 4. So this is how we end up with the value 4. And then if we exchange the order of the last two instructions, then we'll have a counter as a value 6. So this is called race condition. Race condition meaning that when several processes are accessing and manipulating the same data concurrently, and then the outcome of the execution depends on the order, then we say that we have a race condition. And this is pretty dangerous because a famous example of this is that, okay, so say if you have ATM card, and if you have a copy of that card, and then if you give the copy of the card to your friend or your loved one, so then if both of you just happen to go to some of you want to deposit some money, and another one wants to say withdraw some money. Basically, your account is associated with the value named balance. So if you deposit some money, then your balance is going to increase. Whereas if the other people just withdraw some money, then the balance is going to decrease. So here, because both of you are manipulating the same ATM card, so it's possible that the final value of your balance depends on the order of execution. And so suppose that you originally have 1,000 in your account, and you want to deposit, let's say 2,000, and then your loved one wants to withdraw 100. So ideally the final balance value would be 2,900, but it's possible that the final say balance value could be either 3,000, or which is in favor to you. Okay, you basically get 100 more, and the other situation is that you only end up with 900, so you lose your 2,000, and this is pretty dangerous, and so we need to prevent it from happening. So So the way to prevent risk condition is to ensure that only one process can manipulate the data at the same time. That is why I say a single so the same debit card can only be used at by one person at a certain time. Say if you have one card and your loved one has another one, so which are linked to the same account. If you are operating the card at ATM, then your loved one will not be allowed to insert to operate on the same card. So this is to just ensure the safety of your bank account. And so in operating systems, we can also we can also do similar things. Okay, but before that, let's talk about some concept. The first concept that we need to talk about is critical section. So here we can a critical section of a program is basically the segment of the code in which it changes a common variable. So let me give you. So this is the program. Okay, so suppose here you are doing multi processing. So you have multiple processes running the same code. So then in the part, the part that is really dangerous or is called what we call critical section is the part of the code that all the processes are manipulating the same variable value. Okay, so manipulating the same variable, and then we call that area critical section. So here to avoid the risk condition, so the solution is that if one process is executing its critical section, so no other process is allowed to execute its critical section at the same time. Yes, this is pretty much like the ATM example. If you are operating your card at an ATM, then your loved one, no one else can operate the same account on the ATM to avoid the risk condition. Okay, so the specific way to do that is that before we enter the critical section, we add a part of the code to say to check if there is someone else that are I'm sorry, if there is someone else that are executing the same the critical section. If no, then we can enter the critical section. Otherwise, we can't. And similarly, if you just finish your critical section, you want to send out a message to the other people saying that okay, I'm done. Feel free to now. One of you can go to execute your critical section. So this is the how we do that in the high level idea on how to prevent risk condition. And here just in operating systems, there a solution to avoid risk condition must satisfy the following properties. First one is called mutual exclusion. That is saying that only one process at the same time can execute its critical section. And the other one is called, the second one is called process, meaning that only those processes that are not executing in their remainder sections can decide which process is going to enter the critical section. This is like let me give a fun example of this. This is pretty much like say a couple of people wants to be the president of the country. Okay, and so we cannot allow them. We cannot let them decide who's going to sit in the White House. Instead, it's going to be the people who are not the president candidate can vote to decide, okay, who is going to be the next president. So this is what the second requirement means. And the last one is called bounded waiting. So bounded waiting means that there is a limit in the waiting time between a permission request and the entrance to the critical section. So we cannot allow unbound waiting, meaning that we cannot let the process wait forever. Okay, so this is the three requirements. You don't have to remember them. Just only basically only the first one is the most important. Then the mutual exclusion, which is very natural. Only one process can execute in critical section. So but before that, since I just talked about some like president election thing, okay? So and since this country just finished the United States just finished the election, and so I want to talk a little bit about that. So I think in the past 2 or 3 weeks, the most so the thing that attracts most people's attention is just the election. So which is pretty so we got a pretty funny result. So what we have saying is that a lot of people just right before the election and right after the election, a lot of people just go on the street and so to show their support to the one that they want to support. So I'm fine if you support either one. This is very personal opinion, and so no, actually I'm just if you support person A, you should not look down upon the person who support person B. Okay, there is no discrimination. There should be no discrimination over here. And what I want to say is that is it really worth to pay so much attention to who's going to sit in the White House in the next 4 years? So some people just go rally and even without a face mask and take the risk of catching the virus. Maybe they think that the president is going to play an important role in their life. But actually, let me ask you one question, okay? So or in another way, so people think that if the one that they support is can win the election, then that person can have the opportunity to work for him or her in the next 4 years. But let me just ask a question, okay? So if you want to hire an ordinary person to work for you for 1 year, how much money do you need to pay to that person? I would say maybe 50,000, maybe 60,000, right? And then how much do you think that you need to pay the president of the United States to work for you for 4 years? 4 million? 4 billion? At least $4 million. I don't know that answer. Yes, but most people just pay nothing. Okay, so or pay, let's say, $100, $200, and which is very close to nothing. So and compare with 4 million, and yes, so the thing is that even though the one that you support is going to win the election, he can do very little thing for you, okay? And in contrast, you are the most important one in your life who can decide, okay, what kind of result are you going to say tomorrow, next year, next 10 years, etc., etc. So here, my 2 cents are that so it's not worth to give so much attention to the future president, okay? So compare with yourself. That person has very little importance in your life. And then the second thing is that, okay, even though you want to show your support, it's fine. If you want to go outside to show your support, it is fine. But please wear a face mask. Okay, so you don't want to risk your life and the other people's life. So you here I do see this because so previously when I was still teaching the face-to-face section, I live in Long Island, so I need to drive all the way from Long Island to Montclair once a week, and I have to go across so some areas like Brooklyn or Bronx. So what shocks me is that in the past 3 months, almost no one on the street in those areas wear a face mask. Here is what you say, okay, there is a big surge in the number of cases in those areas, and then the schools in the city, in New York City are closed. So here is that, okay, even though I know that most people who come out without a face mask have a strong confidence on their health condition, okay, they're healthy, and then they think that even though they catch it, they should be able to to make it through. But the thing is that if they catch it, they have the opportunity, even though they can make it through, they are going to take this virus, spread this virus to the other people, and then some innocent people like those senior ones are going to risk their going to risk their life. So this is not fair to those people. If you want to go outside to breathe the fresh air, and then those senior people or people with health conditions also want to do that, okay? But if no one wears a face mask in the outside, then how could those senior people or people with health conditions dare to go out and to breathe the air? So be smart. Wear a mask. Do not bring more damage to this country, especially to those senior people as well as the frontline health workers. So yes, these are my 2 cents. And so and at last, okay, if you want to, so if the reason for you to go out without a mask is to show your support for someone, it's not worth it. Okay. So here is a brief summary of the previous definitions. Critical section: the code segments that access and manipulate the same data, and risk condition is that at least 2 processes are executing in their critical section. So so this page is really important. I'm going to check your understanding of it in the final exam. And here, there are basically 3 ways to prevent. The operating system provides 3 ways to prevent risk condition. So the first one is named mutex lock. So mutex lock is really like a lock. So it's like a Boolean variable that can only be either true or false. So which indicates if the lock is available or not. Okay, so it supports 2 functions: acquire and release, and this is implemented by operating system. Okay, so the acquire function works as this. While this one, the lock is not available, it's going to wait, and as long as it's available, so then it's going to take the lock and make it available for false, meaning that for the other people who wants to grab the lock, say okay, that it's going to send out a signal saying that this lock is not available, and the release is to just set the available as true. Okay, and these 2 operations or 2 functions are atomic. Atomic meaning that they're not breakable, interruptible. So it means that while you execute these two functions, you have to either execute them in a whole, finish all of them before an interruption, or you just do not execute them. So in this way, there is no interrupt. So only one process can run can execute these functions, and this is how we prevent risk condition. So this is called mutex lock, and the mutex lock is supported by we can use the mutex lock utilities provided by the POSIX library, and Here I show an example to use that. So first we need to include the pthread header file, and then we use the we first create a new text, and then we initialize that. We initialize it, and then we can call the log function and then call the unlock function. So here I'm just going to show you how to use that function. Okay. Yes, this is the function. Okay, this is the log function. Okay, which is kind of like acquire the pthread mutex log function locks the mutex. If the mutex is already locked, then the calling thread will be blocked until the mutex becomes available. So this is like the acquire lock part. Okay, so it has to acquire to wait for the lock before enters the before entering the critical section. So this is what we do. Okay, and then after it finishes the critical section, modify the value, and then you will need to call the unlock function to release it. Okay, so this is how can you use the mutex. I'm going to upload these programs on Canvas if you are interested in them. Okay, so and the second one is called semaphore. So semaphore is more like is very similar to mutex, but the difference is that mutex can only be locked or unlocked, meaning that it can only have a true or false value or 0 and 1 value. But instead, semaphore can have a value larger than 1. Okay, can have any value larger than 1. So larger than or equal to 1. So it can be as small as 0 and can be as large as infinity. So while this value is less than or equal to 0, we will need to wait, and otherwise we are free to enter the critical section. So the semaphore is very useful in the case that you want to count something. Okay, so for example, so if we want to so here is an example. Suppose that we have n tasks that share m resources. So definitely m is less than n. Then we can use the semaphore to make sure that okay, at most m tasks enter their critical section to use these printers. Okay, so this is the the use of the application of semaphore. And another example, another application of semaphore is the balance. Okay, we can only allow someone to withdraw money if the balance is larger than if the balance is positive. Okay, and then the last one is named conditional variable. It's really complicated. Conditional variable, so it's like a variable or a lock associated with the condition. Only if a certain condition is satisfied, we can unlock it. So here the conditional variable is supported by pthread library again, and so here is the example. Okay, this is the critical section that I explained before. So to use the conditional variable, we can create two conditional variable named empty and full. And then so in the producer function, what we can do is that while, look at here, okay, while the buffer is full, then we wait for the empty condition. Okay, meaning that the empty condition is like the empty condition means that the buffer is not full. And then while right after the producer generates a new an object and put it in the warehouse, they will send out a signal saying that full. Full does not necessarily mean that the warehouse is full. It means that there is some product available to consume in the warehouse. So over here, this is the program for for the consumer. So while the in equal to out, meaning that is empty, then it has to wait for the full condition. And so right after the producer generates something, since it's going to send out a full signal. So over here, this condition is going to be satisfied, and there is no more wait, so the consumer can consume the product. And once the consumer finishes consuming the product, it will need to send out the signal saying that this warehouse has some space, so that if the consumer is blocked, because the buffer is full, then the consumer will be able to, the producer is going to be received the signal and then start producing products. Okay, so I don't require you to have a very good understanding on how to implement or how to use new tags and conditional variable. As long as you know that there exists such utilities, that is fine. And also I provide the consumer and so product and producer code in the say on canvas. And so if you want to explore it, you feel free to do that. So let's just execute it. So this is the result. You can see that the consumer and producer is able to generate the stuff without any risk condition. And yes, this is our lecture for today. And so after this lecture, please read the following sub-chapters in the book. And also to let you know that I'm going to make up the video video lecture that I missed last week. Probably I will just record 2 videos next week. Okay, so thank you, and thank you for understanding, and stay safe and healthy.